80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. Welcome to Live Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 success system with Adam Vincent Gilmer. I'm your host, Gene Velitis, and welcome to episode 45. And boy, that last episode about the system and bank, just amazing. And the next couple of episodes are just going to set the plate to increase your business by as much as 300%. So it's going to be really, really exciting. Now, at the beginning of every episode, I have a message. We encourage you to go to Adam's website, 80-20-365, and get your copy of the Daily Planner. This is where your purpose statement is going to be. This is how you're going to score your day. You're going to come up with your 30, 60, 90-day plan, your 5-year plan. It's all there. You'll carry it around with you. You will protect it like your car keys or your cell phone. But here we are in episode 45. There's something new on the website. When you go there now, there is also on the navigation bar on the top of the screen, there is a link for bank. Now you can start doing your own code breaking right on 80-20-365 and then hook up with Sherry Tree and bank. And joining us again here on episode 45 is Sherry Tree, who is the chairman of Codebreakers Technology. And as we've been talking in previous episode, also the woman who invented bank. So this is going to be really, really fun. Adam, tell me a little bit about the partnership that you and Sherry have, and then I'm going to ask Sherry a few questions about the links. Then we'll get into today's topic, which is the solution and the 3 levels of what you can experience in bank. So Adam, what an addition to the website, man. This is really cool.
Well, as most people know, Gene, one of my daily affirmations is I attract to my reality like-minded beings who will partner to help change the world, and together we'll create multiple 6, 7, and 9-figure incomes. So my daily affirmations. And during that process, of course, Sherry and myself became friends years and years ago. And what we found out is that I use the personality system. Basically, I'm a major red personality, right? Meaning that when I say that, most people say, well, what does that mean? I'm more of like an A personality type, which is the A inside of bank, the A, N, and K. So those 4 personality types I learned to use. And then during the relationship and us spending a bunch of time together, our families playing at the beach, hanging out, we just decided that, it was a conscious choice to say, listen, instead of just making it A, B, C, and D inside the planning system, your daily journal, your calendar, where you put your notes, we made it B, A, N, and K. And the other thing is that Sherry's taken it to an extremely high level of what I learned to do. And what I've always learned to do is when somebody gets to do it better than you, you want to make sure you showcase that. So the last 4 episodes have been dedicated to saying, here's how to use the personality traits, and here's how to sell those different personality traits or get those personality traits to engage more. And Sherry is the best in the world at doing this. And I'm really excited that she's part of our system now.
Yeah. I knew it was going up and I kept checking back on the website, and then I saw it and I just said, whoa, like I'm showing my age, but I said, wow, this is so cool that this edition is up there. Now, Sherry, we're going to talk about the solutions here in a second and introduce people to the 3 levels. But just for a little tease, when people go to 80-20-365.com and they click on bank, what are they going to see? What are they going to get?
Well, what's cool is on the website, what we talked about is the whole system is about how do you crack someone's code? And then what do you say to them? Like, there's all these different personality typing assessments that we've talked about. What color are you? What animal are you? What astrology sign are you? And they're all great. Even Adam had an A, B, C, D. But my whole thing was, what do you do with that information? Like, so what, now what? Mm-hmm. And so the key is you've got to crack someone's code. And so we've partnered up with Adam and 80-20-365, and Adam has invested in the system in a way that's allowing every single one of you listeners out there to go out there and practice and crack your code. It's the opportunity to get a bank code report all about you. It's normally a $99 investment to crack your code. and it's completely paid for and covered for by 80/23/65. And so, Gene, one of the things that you're going to see is the opportunity to crack your code, to find out what is your bank code, to get the report about you. And it's cool because this report, I mean, the exercise only takes you less than 90 seconds. So it's not one of those long assessments that takes 45 minutes or longer to answer all these questions about you. It's literally less than 90 seconds. I'm going to go into it in more detail because this is one of the technologies that we've created to crack codes in one of our upcoming episodes. But you're going to be able to crack your code, get a report. You learn all about yourself. You learn what makes you tick. You learn the science behind your own bank code and your own value systems. One thing that's really fascinating is inside the report that you get, it reveals which bank code out of the 4-digit sequence, which bank code sequence portion is activated under stress. And sometimes like when you said, I don't want to run the show long today because Adam's got plans with his wife. Well, under stress, you actually end up shifting bank codes and you wonder like, wow, man, that person's showing up a little bit differently right now. Yeah, it's because a different part of their bank code just got triggered. And so you're going to learn that in the system. You're also going to learn how to communicate with other people. So when Adam says he's a red, of course, that means he's an action personality type. But how does an action communicate effectively with a blueprint? How does an action communicate effectively with a nurturing? How does an action communicate effectively with a knowledge? Inside that report, you're going to get some tips to help you optimize some of your existing relationships. And then we included a challenge inside there. There's 2 challenges. One is the Crack My Code challenge personally, which is to go and crack the code of your inner circle, your warm, your hot relationships, your spouse, your children, some of the key people that you're working with, in your family and in your friend circles. And then there's a code breaker challenge professionally, which is to go crack the codes of some of your top people that you're working with professionally, your colleagues, whether if you're in network marketing, your upline, your downline, your sideline, your boss at work, depending on what your environment is, find out what the bank codes are and start to look into like, wow, maybe that's why they're showing up a certain way. We have a full detailed course on relationships. We talk about opposites attract, if you've heard of that before, and opposites attack. And you'd be amazed at how many people marry their opposite bank code. And we'll get into that, in a little bit, but yeah. It's mind blowing at how many people marry their opposite because it's kind of like a Jerry Maguire, you complete me, yin and yang type of thing. But at the same time, what you're doing is you're basically marrying someone with a completely different operating system. That's like an Apple marrying a PC. And right. Even though there's definitely differences, there are things that will drive you nuts about the opposite code. And of course, our relationship course goes into that. But there's all of those types of tips are included in your report. And you get that absolutely free as a gift from 80/23/65. So that's a no-brainer. I want every person listening to this podcast, no matter where you are in the world, to go out there and crack your code. And by the way, we've translated the full site into multiple languages. Right now, it's translated into Arabic, into Spanish, into Russian, into German, and coming soon into Greek. Few other languages in the pipeline like Chinese. And then we've also translated the bank cards, which we're going to talk about, which are on the site, into 35 different languages. So we should be able to crack the code of almost anyone, anywhere in the world. No matter what language you speak, you should be able to find the language that resonates with you. And that way you can do this exercise at no cost.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Sorry, you got me going here.
That's okay. I know that's what I'm trying to do as well. And I should mention, now that you're mentioning how it's coming out in different languages, all of us here on behalf of Adam, we want to welcome 2 new countries who have joined us, Ukraine and Spain, now on board and listening to the podcast on 80/23/65. Listen, I promise right now, we're going to get to the solution, talk a little bit about the 3 levels. But, listening to you, I had a bit of an aha moment. Now, I know when people are building organizations, sales organizations, they always go to the leader for help. Adam's phone rings all day long. Sherry, I'm sure you've gone through this as well. If you're a leader listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on Adam's site, and you have a large organization, I know what I would say to somebody in my organization if they were calling me up to help, I would say, have you taken bank? Have you bought the course? Have you done the course? And if they said no, I would say, well, you're going to have to get it if you want my help, because we don't want to start at ground zero. You need the training. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. And if you're a leader, yeah.
Well, I share the
think that
same
would be-
opinion, and I'm going to tell you
Oh, good.
why. When I built the system, once I realized how well it worked for me, the next question was, is this transferable to other people? And once I started to train this to my leaders, and I started seeing results, Gene. Like, I had people in my network marketing business who had never made 100,000 in 10 years in network marketing, that not only made over 100,000, they crossed over $250,000, $500,000, and even $1 million inside of 12 months from using my system. Massive growth. So when we talk about increase your sales up to 300%, it actually can be way more when you learn how to implement the system, because what Bank does is it essentially collapses time. It's not just about getting the yes, it's the speed of getting the yes. It's how fast you can get the yes. Can you shorten the sales cycle? And when you do that, if you can get yeses, like what traditional sales training says is that you've got to meet with someone 5 to 12 times before you get a yes. And the average person quits after their second attempt, right? Like after 1 or 2 attempts, boom, they just quit. And yet the person doesn't even get to yes until 5 to 12 times. What Bank essentially does is it gets to yes much faster, so that you don't have to wait till the 5th to 12th time to finally get the yes. You can actually, what if you could actually get it in 4 or 3 or 2 or even 1? We call that a 1-call close. Imagine meeting with someone and boom, on the first appointment, they say, yes, sign me up. Yes, I want to buy your products. Yes, I want to join your business. I mean, come on, that is the holy grail. And so what that does, the speed of getting yes and the increase of the conversion rate increases something called sales velocity. And when your sales velocity increases, that's how I went from 72,000 to $500,000 to over $1 million, was I was essentially increasing my sales velocity. Because at the end of the day, like, I meet leaders all the time who are great at getting yeses, but the question is, it's the speed of getting a yes. So speaking of leaders, I got to where I made this mandatory in my downline. Now, how do you do that in network marketing when it's like a volunteer army? Well, I said, if you want any of my time, if you ever want to introduce your guest to me, if you want me to do a 3-way call, a 3-way meeting, whether we're meeting at Starbucks or a virtual meeting on Zoom, you've got to tell me their bank code prior to the meeting, or else I'm not going to do the meeting.
I love it. I love it. I think that's
you might say, well, Sherry, gosh, that
advice.
You're kind of a jerk. Well, no, actually, I do that because I care. Because otherwise what's happening is people are bringing their most precious asset to the table, called their warm market. The person, they may have been talking to this person for 6 months. They finally got them to agree to a phone call. And I can't tell you how many calls I've seen absolutely destroy the possibility of that person getting involved, because they didn't say the right thing to that person. They spoke the wrong code. And it devastates the person bringing their warm market to the call, to the point where they sometimes just pack up their toys and go home. Like, they just, this doesn't work.
Yeah, sure.
So,
well, I'm glad I had that aha moment and you agree. Now we are going to get to the solution, but I just have to tell you something. You made me laugh when talking about increasing somebody's income by 300%. And that's, I love it. That's a conservative figure. Oh my goodness. Listen, let's talk about the solution. Our last episode was a system. This one is the solution. There's 3 levels in Bank. So tell us about the solution, hit on the 3 levels, and in future episodes, the next episode, 46, we'll be talking about the tools, then the training, then the technology. So let's get to the solution here on 45.
Yeah.
Sherry.
So the solution answers a question of like, so what, now what? And one thing I want the listeners, considering is like, who is this for? What if I'm not in network marketing? What if I'm an insurance agent? What if I'm a realtor? What if I'm, a chiropractor? Does this work for me too? And so what I want to share with you, first of all, is we built the solution so that it worked for anyone, no matter what your industry. And we started to collect success stories from all different types of industries. We've got people across sales, like traditional sales, direct sales, home-based business, network marketing sales, pharmaceutical sales. If you're in sales, you're using this system, or your competition is, right? That's the key. We've got people in financial services using it, mortgage people, lenders, insurance agents, people in real estate that are realtors, brokers, escrow officers, using bank. We've got all kinds of professionals, doctors, attorneys, chiropractors, CPAs. I'm speaking at a chiropractor conference coming up. And you're like, what the heck does chiropractor have to do with bank? Well, they're business owners and they know how to treat human beings, but they don't necessarily know how to convert sales, which is, of course, customer or client acquisition. It's very, very important no matter what industry you're in. We've got online and internet marketers using bank, where they're building bank and profiling people straight into the landing pages and sales funnels and email sequences. If you could imagine being able to do that. We've got companies using bank, even at the enterprise level. For example, I got invited to train bank at Google corporate headquarters. Google, of all companies, trained on bank with their sales teams. We've got leaders in many different occupations and even outside of business. I've trained this to political leaders. I've trained this to religious leaders. I've trained this to company leaders. And of course, education and school systems. And you might be saying, what? You're like, this is being trained in schools? Yes, all the way down from elementary schools through high school and even into universities that are piloting bank for different reasons. In the grade school levels, they're piloting bank to see if it can help reduce bullying. You're like, wow, like I thought you said this was for sales. Yeah, but sales is influence and sales is communication. And do you know that if we go all the way back to the schoolyard, different kids are bullying based on different bank codes, right? Like someone who might be considered a nerd was really a knowledge personality type. They're super smart. By the way, they should be one of your best friends to help you pass the test. Okay.
No kidding.
Universities using bank to increase student faculty relations, scoring, and even admissions into the university based on bank codes. If you can imagine. Okay, so this is super cool. Speakers, authors, coaches using bank, and even get this, relationship experts. Okay, we've got churches and marriage ministries using bank so that they can actually help relationships and help marriages stay together. We're living in a society with divorce rates of more than 50%. And so when we bring the solution, we're bringing a very holistic approach. And this is something that's so important because you might be listening and you might be in sales, but what if your spouse isn't? What if they're a stay-at-home mom? What if they have a different corporate style job? What if they're an attorney? What if they're an admin assistant? Whatever they are. Bank works at home and at work. And what I love is bank has the power to transform your revenue and your relationships. And this is where we bring the yin and yang together because we can help drive revenue and all things related to business success. We've got companies using it for cultural diversity training in HR, hiring processes, not just sales. It's human communication protocol that we're teaching you. So revenue channel and your relationship channel. We built the courses for dating, parenting, and marriage. We built the 5 love languages, if you could imagine. The 5 love languages, if you're familiar with that book, well, they're different based on bank codes. For example, if I say I love gifts, but I'm a blueprint, well, I like different types of gifts than if I was an action or a nurturing or a knowledge. So actually your love languages change based on the bank code. So we built at Codebreaker Technologies, we built solutions for a holistic approach, revenue and relationships. And that's really an important impact. Tony Robbins, he said, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of your relationship. And so if you think about that, whoever you are as a listener, you're going to get the best of both worlds. We're going to help you in business. We're going to help you make more money. We're going to help you engage more clients. We're going to help you get more referrals. And we're going to keep your relationships glued together. All right. If you're single and ready to mingle, how do you find someone based on the right bank code that should be a match for you and your type? If you are married, how do you stay happily married? How do you optimize your relationship versus compromise inside your relationship? How do you become a better parent? Okay. These are some of the things that we're going to talk about. This isn't just sales training. And I want to share a cool quote from Les Brown. I had a chance to meet him many years ago. He heard about my bank system. I got whisked off to his hotel room and at a big conference that I was speaking at alongside of him. And I got a private chance to meet with Les Brown. And of course, I was really excited. And when he had me explain the bank system, Gene, he's like, you know what? This is a game changer. And I said, well, tell me more, Les. Why do you say that? And he said, listen, Sherry, I travel all over the world. I speak on stages full of stadiums of people, 80,000 strong. He said, I've seen every sales training under the moon. I've never seen one as powerful as Bank. And I said, well, why do you feel that way? He said, well, this system does three things for every entrepreneur and sales professional. This system is going to strengthen your confidence, because imagine having the confidence that you're going to say the right thing that gets a yes instead of the thing that gets you a no. What creates fear in most people is that they're going to say things where they get shut down. They get the kibosh put on them. They get a no, they get rejection, they get bullied from the person that they're trying to introduce their service or product or opportunity to. And it's extremely discouraging. You know, most people don't have that thick skin yet. And so having the confidence is massive. Number two is expand your selling skills. I don't care who you are, no matter what your sales background is. And by the way, 85% of people joining network marketing have no formal sales or business training at all. They just fell in love with the product and they're like, all right, let's do this. Okay. Or I don't care if you've been trained by the best of the best. If you've gone through sales training from Grant Cardone, from Les Brown, from Robert Kiyosaki, from Brian Tracy, from Jeffrey Gitomer, the spin selling method, whatever sales method you've learned, Bank is going to expand your selling skills. Bank's going to make you potentially 300% better at whatever technique you're using. And lastly, what Les Brown says is Bank is going to dramatically increase your income. And this is where it gets fun because, you know, Bank is one of those things where it's a play on words. You know, I'm going to teach you the bank codes and I'm going to teach you how to take it to the bank. Take it to the bank financially so that you have more money than ever before, but also take it to the bank emotionally. Bank, one of the things that our solution does is it elevates your emotional intelligence. You actually become a better human being. You become more approachable, more likable, more charismatic, which in business can pay off, of course, in droves. And so what our company did, our solution, is knowing that our clients want this. They're like, okay, I'm in, what is it? What am I buying? What am I subscribing to? What am I using? So what we did is we developed a portfolio of tools, training, and technology so that all of our followers, our fans, our raving fans who basically love Bank, adopt Bank, and want to use Bank can get access to it no matter what your budget is. We've got something that you can use to start getting results. And once you start getting results, then of course, banking becomes natural, it becomes secondhand. And the next thing you know, you're making the money to be able to afford everything that you want to be able to do. So
that's fantastic. Well, you know, our next episode coming up is called The Tools. And one of the things we're going to introduce everybody to is the 3 levels. And then we'll talk about those levels. We'll talk about the tools and trainings and the technology. We're going to wrap up this episode. Man, the solutions were great. You told me, I mean, I've known you for a long time. You've told me things on this episode that I could never even imagine that Bank would do. So Adam, your reaction to this episode and what Sherry's had to say and how it works for your business.
Well, it's funny. So, you know, I know we're going to be going into the tools and what have you. And I quickly pulled out these little cards, which I'm sure Sherry's going to talk about in the next upcoming episodes. But the best part about these ones is that I was able to, with our son, AJ, you know, we recently had a psychology assessment done for him because going through school, there were some issues, challenges, learning, what have you. So what's great is that, you know, when you learn somebody's bank code, it doesn't just work for, as Sherry just said, the different businesses. It works on building incredible relationships. And the great thing was to sit down, have AJ actually choose the different pictures. Like, you know, I think we can see that on the camera. Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course, for the adult version, it's a little different. I'm sure Sherry will get into that too. But the point is that I had AJ sit down. He actually chose a similar bank code to me. Now, here's the great thing. I did that before he had the psychology test. It comes back, he had the same thing as me, like, attention deficit, some reading and challenges and what have you. But the great thing is like, he was feeling a little inferior. And I said, you know what? Hey, I'm just like you. So you were able to match up and, I say match personalities, but that also helped both Jessica and myself communicate better with AJ. And so we've moved through different learning things now, which is fantastic. And it just goes to show you that you don't just use this for just your business to just making more money. Use it really in your life every single day. So I'm excited that we can get into the tools and some of the technology. And I can't wait for the next episode myself.
Wow, me too. I've got to tell you something. I personally learned so much in this episode. I want to thank the both of you. This was really incredible. I had no idea about the solutions that were involved in the bank system and how they can save your marriage and your family and bring balance back into your life, which is fantastic. So, wrapping up this episode, we're going to wrap it up a little differently now. I'm going to urge you to go to Adam's website, 80/20/365, and make sure you have the daily planner. I mean, these videos and podcasts, they're free. You need the daily planner. And when you go there, click on the link on the navigation bar. You want to crack your code, it says BANK right there. So, two new things to do when you go to the website. Now, coming up on our next episode, we'll tell you about the 3 levels. Very exciting. We're going to talk about the tools. And then after that, we'll get into training and technology. I'm excited. I learned so much today. Thank you. So, on behalf of Sherry and Adam Vincent Gilmer and Living Your Life Well Planned, I'm your host, Gene Velitis. Thanks for being with us on this podcast and video. And you know what? If I were you, I'd go right to episode 56 right now, episode 46 right now. We'll talk to you in a second. This is Living Your Life Well Planned. 80/20/365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. 80/20/365, living your life well planned.